Today we are continuing our 1-point perspective. We're going to be doing an interior space today, so this means we're going to be doing something indoors. I'm still going to start off with my horizon line. I'm going to do it very light because we're inside. We're not going to be able to actually see the horizon line, because the horizon line is where the sky comes down and appears as though it's touching the land, right? So it's the point where the sky is perceived to touch the land. But we won't be able to see that because we're indoors. We're drawing an indoor drawing, right? And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead. I'll measure. You guys don't have to do this. I don't care if your square is exactly perfect or not. Just try to eyeball it as best you can. But I just want to show you how to do this in case you're interested in learning how to make this straight. So what I'll do, I know my paper's cut to an even measurement. The outside edge here is very precise. It's been cut by a machine. So we will use it to measure from. So I'll come over here and make sure that I'm going to make this kind of smaller. I'm going to make this about 3 inches here. And then I'll go over here and do exactly 3 inches here. I don't want this to be very big. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to taper this down. I'll do this about 3.5, and then I'll come over here and do this about 3.5. So I'm going to change my mind. I want it to be a little smaller than that. I don't want this. We're working on the back wall right now, and I don't want the back wall to be the biggest thing in the drawing. So again, 3.5. I'm over here. Count back 3.5. All right. Now I want to come back over here and do the same thing for this. For the top, I'll do about, maybe we'll do about 2.5 for the top. Maybe about 2, maybe about 3 on the bottom. 2.5. 3. Okay, so now we can line these up. Okay, like I said, I don't expect yours to be this precise. That is quite alright if it's not. But what I do care about is the perspective. So if you want to just draw a box around here, that's fine. So what I want to do is make sure all my lines come back to my vanishing point. I'm using a very dark pencil today because I want to be able to show you the differences. Alright, and now I just want to come in and erase all the things that I don't need. I don't need my horizon line. I don't need my lines here on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and keep a faint trace of them so that you can see that they're there, because I want you to be able to see what I did. You'll have the record of the video, but I also want you to be able to just look at the finished product and tell what I was doing at any stage. I don't need my marks anymore. You can avoid those by not making them. Like I said, I don't care if your walls are a little crooked. What I want you to demonstrate to me is that you know how to do this perspective. So right now, we're looking at what? The ceiling. This is the ceiling. This is the right wall, left wall, back wall, right? And then below that, we have the floor here. So this is the floor. So now you can see that we're in an interior space. So on your drawing, I'm going to go ahead and say you're going to have 3 doors. I'm going to draw my lines, my doors taller than I need them. And remember, the further things go away from us, the smaller they get. So my doors are going to consistently get wider. right? Because the further they go away, the wider they're going to appear. The further they go away from us, the viewer, the narrower they're going to appear. And so are the spaces between the doors. All right, now I want to pick where I want my doors to end. Say I want them to be about that, maybe about that tall. Okay. Erase the lines I don't need. Get rid of my horizon line. I never did finish getting rid of my horizon line, did I? Make sure I did it over here as well. Alright, and then I'm going to faintly get rid of that. I'll leave a little trace of it so you guys can see. So it's the correct perspective. Now I can come up here and darken the lines I want to keep if I want to. Go ahead and fill it in. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. That way you guys can tell that this is some kind of open door. I want you to tell this is negative space here. Remember, if you turn your pencil sideways, you can get a lot more coverage that way. Alright, I'm not trying to win any art contests here. I'm just trying to fill that in. Now, on the right side here, I'm going to have some windows. Let's say this on this one, we're going to have 3 windows. Once again, I'm going to make the lines bigger than I need. I can come to this side because I want to be able to see what I'm doing. I don't know what kind of place this is going to have these really weird windows like this, but that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and shade those in just like I did before for the doors. Alright, now I'm going to clean up the lines I don't need again. Maybe leaving a faint trace of them so you guys can see what I did. And that's one of the reasons I used a really dark pencil. So I wanted to leave that little trace behind. Alright, now we're either going to need floor tiles or ceiling tiles. So I'm going to require one or the other, not both. First I'm going to decide how big I want my tiles to be. So what I'm going to say, perfect. Let's say maybe one every half inch. You don't have to do this many. And everything has to go back to my vanishing point. Now I want to make sure my tiles are getting bigger the closer they get to me. So I'm going to start growing them until we run out the page. All right. And once again, erase the lines that I don't need. All right. And then finally, I can go ahead and, if I want to, for extra credit, you can put in a table. erase the lines I don't need. All right, so now I've got tiles to the correct perspective, windows, both the top and the bottom of the window to correct perspective, the tops of the doors to correct perspective, the corners here to correct perspective. So what's happening here, everywhere there's a wall, where these walls meet the ceiling and the walls meet the floor, you're creating this line that's going to go further and further away from you. This whole wall here is going to be a plane that's going to go further and further away from you. So it's going to shrink incrementally and very fluidly back to that horizon, back to that vanishing point, right? To where it gets smaller and smaller as it goes away from us till it eventually disappears. So that's what we're looking at for today's project. Now you can do all kinds of extra stuff if you want. Anything you do, I'm going to count it as extra credit.